Hey, what's up everyone? Morey Croson here, and today we're going to be breaking down the 2023 quarterback class. We're going to start the video right now. This is the newest edition of the Performance Lab. Reach your individual goals. You don't want to just talk about straight line speed. We also want to talk about your ability to be quick. We break down your video. Let's make you into the quarterback I know you can become. All right, so this is going to be a fun video. Many people that are watching this probably know that the top quarterbacks in this class, there's been a lot of talk about them going into college just because there's so many guys that seem to be really top tier quarterbacks, guys that can go and play potentially at the next level right away. And so we're going to get a little bit more into that and just talk about some of the ratings. We're going to start off with Arch Manning, who is the highest rated quarterback. His rating is 0.999, basically the highest rating you can get as a athlete according to 24/7 Sports. And a lot of people have been talking about how with Arch Manning, how it's kind of been one of those things where he's getting a lot of hype because of his last name. And, you know, there are some things that he does from a mechanic perspective that I don't think are great. You know, and he does play some competition that is not great, and that's one of the things that I do want to say is like it's so hard to be able to predict this type of stuff because there's just so much variability for the players, and we'll talk about a few different things here as we go through. But you know, Arch Manning, there's some times when he's playing and he just makes it just looks like he's playing against really young athletes or guys that are a lot smaller, not very experienced. And there are some things from a mechanical perspective that are not great. You can see a ton of lean over here to the side. He's also not getting his hips out in front super well here. Also kind of lifting up through the chin as he's coming through. Almost kind of something similar to like a Drew Brees. He does have an effective arm. He does get the ball there. So, you know, he's not bad from that perspective, but I think that he ends up being somebody that you know, while he has a lot of, I think he's going to do well at the next level. I think there's a lot of things that he's going to have to improve on in order to get more out of the football. I think his arm strength may not be, you know, where he wants it to be. Here's an example where they, you know, he talks about, where they talk about him kind of trucking a bunch of defenders, but the guys don't really look very big. You know, it doesn't look like there's a bunch of big guys that he's running over here, right? Like there's not very many guys at Alabama that look like this. Zero guys that look like that at Alabama that are actually playing. So, and now that Texas is in the SEC, they're going to be going against some top defenders, and so it's just not going to transfer over as well, right? And then we're going to go ahead and look at Malachi Nelson. And Malachi Nelson, to me, right, because Arch Manning is number one, right, in terms of the overall rankings. Okay, we're going to do that, and these guys are in order in terms of the top four. I'm just going to do four today. Arch Manning is going to be number one. Number two is Malachi Nelson, 0.9982 rating, so really high rated as well. Malachi Nelson has a ton of arm strength, a lot better from a mechanical perspective here. Does a good job loading into that hip, throwing the ball really a long way. Could probably do a better job of shifting his weight all the way forward. Actually, real quick, let's see what the release time is here. Let's try to get a good one. This one we can see it a little bit better. Okay, so we'll start right there, 0.62. And gets the ball out about 0.82. Okay, so that would be 0.2, which would be, you know, really phenomenal. Maybe it's going to be a little bit earlier. Maybe we start at 0.56 would be the better spot when that front hand leaves the football. Okay, but that's really efficient. Okay, so he definitely has a good, nice, efficient arm. Maybe one more. So 0.86, yeah. So it's probably closer to 0.56 and then 0.86. But again, 0.2 to 0.3 ends up being really, really good, right? It's not much higher than 0.3, so that's a very effective release. Not very much wasted time going on there. We'll take a look at Malachi Nelson's here, 0.46. This is going to be a deeper throw, so a lot of times we see these being a little bit longer, but the same type of thing, right? He's close to about that 0.3, so not very much wasted motion. Okay, we see quarterbacks all the time that send videos in that are really, really delayed and kind of bringing that arm back and being able to come all the way forward. You can see how effective he is at loading the football, driving that elbow through, and then gets a very, very effective wrist flick and follow through, which is why he's able to throw the ball with a lot behind it. This is an example of, you know, where, I mean, it's a good throw, gets the ball out of his hands, but that's going to end up being knocked down or potentially intercepted right there at the next level, right? So Again, there's some things that could definitely improve. He does do a good job of being able to escape the pocket, keep his eyes downfield. You know, there's a lot of things that he does really, really well. And at the end, we're going to go over and talk about who is probably the best overall. You can see very good at being able to get that momentum. See how much better he does at being able to get that momentum in that lower body first, and then is able to, you know, could probably do a better job being able to shift his body weight onto that front leg, but excellent job as he initiates that load. Now we're going to go into the other two guys. All right, on the right here, we have Nico Lamaleava, who is from Long Beach Poly. He's the number 3 quarterback. I'm just going to go with Nico just because his last name is kind of difficult to pronounce. So Nico here, he is, again, number 3, number 4 overall, number 3 quarterback, 99.68 rating. He's 6'5", really, really big guy, and has a lot of good intangibles as well. He, from a load perspective, doesn't look as solid. Right, we'll go ahead and take a look to see his numbers. 0.66. Gets the ball out close to about 0.93. So another guy that's around that 0.3, 0.33 range. So he's pretty quick and being able to get the ball out of his hands, which is really, really good. Also does a good job being able to push off that back leg, kind of steps off to the side. We've seen some video of him, or in his highlights, he has some video where he does a good job of being able to get a lot of distance, really picks up a nice long stride. But this is, you know, one of those plays where, I mean, it's on the highlight film, but it's a super prevent play, it looks like to me. It's like 1st and like 30, right? We can't even see the first down marker. He has absolutely no rush. We zoom out more, the safeties are probably about 25 yards off the ball, right? And so, and then this is just kind of like a 15, 20-yard arc. Not to say this wasn't a great throw, right? Because he threw about 25, 30 yards on a line here, but it's also something that is not going to end up being a play that will be, you know, you're not really expecting that play to be a super, you know, that was probably right before half, right? So that play was not something that you could really look at and be like, oh yeah, great mechanics, great throw, blah, 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 okay? Load here, and again, the thing that is, to me, a little bit inefficient is he keeps that ball down, gets that elbow up, which means that as he drives that elbow through, he's going to put a lot more stress on the shoulder, a lot more stress on the elbow. And that might not be a sustainable thing. He might end up being able to work with it. I do think being able to get the ball out of his hands quicker is going to be much more effective for him long term. It'll be interesting to see how he does with different competition. This is when he's at Warren. I don't think they have as tough as a schedule as Long Beach Poly. So they played some teams that I don't think were as good. He was able to get away with a lot more. But yeah, he needs to definitely improve his mechanics, and I mean, he definitely has the arm strength and everything like that, but can get out the ball out of his hands a little bit more efficiently, and is still a really, really good quarterback. I think he needs to put on some weight overall too, but he does a lot of things really, really well. So the last one's going to be Donte Moore. He is committed to Oregon, number 4 quarterback, and then number 9 in the nation. So again, 4 top 10 quarterbacks. 99.54, according to 24/7 Sports. He won the Elite 11 championship. Of course, Nico Lamaleava wasn't there, or Arch Manning weren't there. Malachi Nelson was there. To me, the top quarterbacks, from watching the little bit of film, not knowing a ton about all this stuff, that would be my list. Right now, the number 1 would be Manning, number 2, Nelson, number 3, Nico, number 4, Donte Moore. I think Donte Moore looks really, really impressive. He's made a lot of great throws here. I mean, look at how efficient that. You can just see how effective it looks when guys have a nice release. 0.56 out of the ball, or again, it has the ball out around 0.86, so 0.3. All these guys have fast releases, okay? And just if this is the first time you're watching one of our videos, we do these breakdowns, so you can send in video to me and I'll break it down and explain to you how to get the ball out of your hand quicker, how to make it so you have a more effective release, because we see that a lot with guys that are trying to get to the next level. You guys are just really ineffective with your release, and that makes it so, one, you are not going to be able to put near as much on the football. You're going to have a lot more inconsistency in terms of the ball being potentially inaccurate, things like that. But another thing that ends up happening is you give yourself more opportunity as a quarterback. You can get the ball in your hands faster so you can avoid the rest better. You also get the ball in your hands faster so you can kind of wait a little bit longer before having to make a choice. You don't have to be as decisive when you have good arm strength, good accuracy, quick release, right? Because now you can read a little bit more and you have that ability to throw 25 yards on a line. And that's really what top programs are looking for, and that's what I would be looking for too if I was a quarterback coach. You got to think about it from a quarterback coach perspective. Yeah, you might be able to win a couple games here and there in a small area, but who are you really looking for as a quarterback coach is looking to build a program? You're looking for guys with arm strength, you're looking for guys with talent, you're looking for guys that are able to potentially come right in and compete. Not somebody that's going to be a potential project that needs to add a lot more weight, put on a lot more velocity within their throw. They might be able to win some games, but that doesn't transfer over like we talked about before. I went back and looked at the 24/7 Sports. They ranked Joe Burrow, who was the number 1 overall pick. He was in his class the number 19 quarterback, right? So there's 18 quarterbacks that were ahead of him. I think he was in like 250 or something like that in the in his recruiting class, and ended up being the number 1, so the most valuable person there. Number 2 pick, Zach Wilson, number 70 quarterback. He almost was outside of the top 1,000 players in the entire country in his class. Ended up being the 2nd overall pick, right? Kenny Pickett, the number 48 quarterback, right? Ended up being the 20 overall pick, the first quarterback picked in his class, right? So it's hard to be able to predict this type of stuff. But I mean, Donte Moore, to me, in a lot of ways, is a lot more polished. He's a lot more of a guy that can show up right away and play. He's big. He's able to really effectively transfer his weight. He has great rotation through the spine. There's a lot of things that I think Donte Moore is able to do that transfers over. Same thing with Malachi Nelson. Malachi Nelson has a lot of the things that top guys have, and it looks like, from me to me, like these games, it looks like the competition's pretty good that Donte Moore's playing against, right? Like the stands are packed. Both sides have a lot of players. All the players look like they're good-sized guys. I mean, we don't get the same type of view as we do from, when we're watching Arch Manning, but it even looks like their program is well run, right? You can watch this and see that the film is really high-quality film, right? It looks like he's part of a really good program, which is another reason why I think that he's going to have a lot more success, or can potentially have more success. Yeah, so if you watch this and like the information, go ahead and click that thumbs up down below. Subscribe to the channel. Again, we do these breakdowns. We have a lot of different professional quarterbacks that we do this for as well. Today, I wanted to go and do high school quarterbacks. It's hard to be able to predict exactly what's going to happen when guys are able to progress, but what we can predict is how you can improve as a quarterback. What are the main things that you have to be able to really focus on? And a lot of it has to do with the wrist. A lot of it has to do with how you're utilizing your lower body. And so those end up being the main focuses that we put on within our breakdowns and even within our videos. So you can go through and check out some of our videos if you want to after watching this. But big thing is that I highly recommend is if you can't throw the ball really far, right? If you're struggling with the distance, then definitely sign up for either a breakdown or a program that's all in the description down below, because it'll really give you a lot more insight into how to throw the ball further. That's a big thing that I did not get when I was younger, is the difference between how to throw the ball far in comparison to how to throw the ball 20 to 25 yards. A lot of us have good mechanics throwing the ball under 25 yards, but struggle in being able to add a lot more distance just because we don't understand the mechanics. And same type of thing with the release. How can I improve my release time? Well, there's some specifics that you have to be able to do in order to make that happen. We want to be able to go over that with you. So yeah, like the video, subscribe, check out the description. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.